Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about a very important subject that has to be spoken about. It's a subject that we all feel and we think about, but because of our cultural ties we feel like that's not the right thing to do. And I want you to understand that what I'm speaking about right now is a part of life and it's necessary. It's a must if you want to continue growing. And it's about cutting ties. Sometimes in life you have to cut ties. It may be with your closest friend, it may be a boyfriend or girlfriend, it may be family. You have to cut ties. Sometimes things have to happen in order for one another to grow. God made us to grow. God made us to be all we can be. If it wasn't so, we wouldn't have the examples around us. God was very strategic and very smart and intelligent on how he created this life. Everything grows around us as an example on how we should be. Even us as people, we grow from small infants up to grown and full adults, far as outward appearance. But internally, we're steady growing in those attributes and characteristics so we can be spiritually mature. And this is what we have to understand about life. This is what we have to understand about certain relationships and certain people in our lives. There are certain people that are meant to be there for a season. They're meant to show you something and teach you something, and vice versa. And at the same time, those people may not the words I'm trying to say is supposed to be in your life for a long period of time. But we find ourselves keeping people around, and ultimately those relationships are split up. Those relationships are ripped apart for whatever reason, because they were only meant to be there for a season, and some were never meant to be there at all. So we have to cut ties in life, guys. And because as people, as mankind, we're alike, we're one another, we're the same. So what the deal is it's hard to break ties with people because we truly love people, we truly love ourselves. So when we look at someone we've built a relationship with, or even family member for that matter, we've known them for years and since little kids, and it just seems wrong to cut ties with family. But honestly, guys, family also. There are times when you have to cut off family, and not cut off family in a negative and in a terrible way, but I'm saying in order to benefit your family, in order to benefit yourself and future family, you have to separate yourself so you can continue to grow. You can come back to your family when you're done. It's just like a child, or when a high school graduate, when they graduate, they go to college. They have to leave and go to school so they can embark on their new life, so they can continue to grow and become more knowledgeable in an area that they are studying. So they have to separate from their family. They can no longer live there at home and be so much dependent on their family. They have to go out and become independent, find out who they are, who God wants them to be, what God wants them to do, so they can be more beneficial to those around them. So cutting ties is very necessary when living life. If you don't, you will never reach your full potential, because you're constantly allowing yourself to stay around the same circles that you've been around since you were a little kid, since you've been around since you were a toddler for that matter. And you're not growing anymore. It's just like a flower pot. And everything, God is like I say in the beginning, God is very intentional on how he has made this life. And it's just like a flower pot. When you plant a seed takes root into the soil, and the roots will get so big, and they will stretch out to the point where it's going to get too big for that flower pot. You would then have to pick up the flower itself and put it in a bigger flower pot so it will be able to grow to a bigger size. But if you keep it in that small flower pot, you will eventually stunt the growth of the flower, of the plant. And that's the same thing with us. We are growing. Just because we reach a certain height, just because we graduate high school or college, doesn't mean we've stopped growing. Mentally, internally, we're still growing. We're still learning. Our minds are still gaining more knowledge and learning more knowledge. So, in order to do that, some people are irrelevant in your life at a point in time. Even if, I'm key on family members because it's a culture that we have. Whether you are so-called Mexican, so-called black, whatever. If you just mankind, period, we have created this culture around family that a lot of us are stunting our growth. A lot of us are going in a circle, keeping ourselves at a certain level, opposed to reaching a higher level where we can be even more, where we can be more beneficial to our family. But because of our cultural ties, because we feel like we are disrespecting, or we feel like we're hurting our family members of some sort because we're trying to grow and move forward, we are willing to stunt our growth. We are willing to allow that to happen, and we settle. And then guess what? Internally, we end up feeling miserable because we know we can do way more. We know inside of us we're more intelligent than what we've allowed ourselves to stop at and settle. We know that the Spirit told us that we need to do this and we need to do that. So we end up bitter and miserable as we get to an older age. And a lot of people haven't got to that point, especially if you're young, if you're 16, 17, or if you're in your 20s or early 20s. It's not haven't so much registered. Some people it has, though. Some people it has. Some people see it. But I guarantee you, if you're 40, you're 50, you're 60 years old, and you feel it. You have felt this, because a lot of people have, because of culture, stopped themselves because of the big brother or the big sister. You're looking up to them, listening to them, not realizing that you should just listen to yourself, and listen to what God is telling you. So this is the point that I have to bring to you guys, that cutting ties is very important. It's very necessary, because if you don't cut ties when you need to, you will stunt your growth. You will hurt yourself in the long run. And your family, trust me, and when you cut ties in the beginning, your family, they're not going to understand it. Because listen, you're on a mission. You have been chosen to go further, to push your family lineage, to push God's kingdom, mankind, even further in life, to show people that look up to you, that are around you, that hey, you can do things, you can get out of the situations that you were born in, that you are currently in, that have held you down, that you can get out of that. You are meant to be that for your generation. You are meant to be that for your family and people that surround you. But if you allow the people that surround you or your family members to stunt your growth, to stop it just because of cultural ways, then you will end up feeling the pain in the end, because you're not reaching your full potential, because you're ignoring your thoughts in your heart. You're ignoring that, and you can't ignore it, because once you ignore it, man, it eats you up from the inside. And I'm telling you guys, your mind and your body wants to grow. It sees what it can do. It gives you new thoughts every single day on what we can do, and so I know it's tough sometimes to shake it. I know honestly, especially, I was talking to a older guy, and he was telling me one thing that is hard is, if you've been doing something for so long, you were taught it and you live on it, you breathe it, you eat it, you sleep with it. It's hard to undo it. It takes repetition every single day for the rest of your life to create a new habit, to live a new way, live a new life. And you pretty much got to die to that old self. And so I encourage you guys, a lot of these ways you have to die to. People won't understand that you're trying to move forward in life, and you're not just trying to go to the same level that your family members go. Because your family members can only show you so much. Your friends can only show you so much. You got to show yourself more. Your mind knows where it needs to go, what it wants to do for you, and you have to listen to it. because your mind, your heart is not trying to destroy you or let you down. It's trying to get you to success. It's trying to get you to a place of happiness and joy that you always wanted. So I encourage you guys, cut ties, because if you don't, you will resent it. There's a time for to be around people in those seasons, especially with family members. And I'm key on family because these are one of the things that really hinder us from growing. Family members give their own opinion, but their opinions are based on, their life or what they feel. And sometimes it's never us. Sometimes we got more determination and more grit and grind about ourselves than the next person may have. And you may be asking them because they're older, you're looking up to them, or because they have some type of authority or superiority over you, and you take their word, but they're giving you an answer based on the characteristics and attributes that they may have and how they feel. But honestly, you may grind harder, you may be determined way more than they are, and you may get it done. So you have to listen to yourself, and you can't let the cultural ties hold you back, because you're meant to go farther than those before you. They were meant to carry a certain length, a certain level or miles, however you want to look at it, but you were meant to take that baton and carry it even further. And when you have kids and so forth and so on, they are to carry it even further. So that's how it goes. So guys, I strongly encourage you to break ties, to cut ties, so you can continue to grow and reach your full potential in life. Your family will understand at the end when you reach your destination, and you come back to them and show them the way, show them what you've learned, show them that it was all not just in vain. It wasn't just for yourself, but it was for everyone, including your immediate family and the family you will have in the future. I love you guys. That's all I have for you today. Don't forget to embrace the struggle, because that's what growth is later on.